Man, these people at Shmotaku, urinalists, as the quartering calls them. I also heard that it's very offensive to call them that, and I was like, well, wasn't the term yellow journalism a thing way before the quartering? It's not like he invented the wheel, he just polished it a little bit. But what's interesting is that I have to read this rag on a weekly basis, because it's part of my job. And I can tell you that for the last couple of years, they constantly denied that cancel culture exists. But now it's impossible to deny, because you have many video games that are suffering remakes, reimaginings, and you have the developers saying that, yeah, we can't have that in the game anymore, we gotta remove it. GTA, perfect example, they removed content from it. Now they're talking about Silent Hill. It worries me a lot. You know, they're trying to make it for a modern audience. It sends quivers and shakes down my spine. But basically, like, you have a lot of things that were amazing games in the past. And not only that, but they managed to make a worldwide renown for themselves. I mean, holy shit, you know, GTA is known around the world. You can go to Africa. In any country, like, just pick a country in Africa that's struggling with civil war. Chances are both sides of that war have heard about GTA. But, you know, like, the developers are saying, no, like, the game isn't perfect. It will be perfect once we censor it. Look at the Disney remakes. Another example. So they're taking remakes from the past and said, no, they're not good enough. We need to make Ariel black. And that's going to be perfection. Right? So cancel culture exists, and now Shmotaku can't deny it. So they're absolutely foaming at the mouth when the Xbox executive is praising developers who don't give a fuck about cancel culture. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to make our game. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And this depowers the video game journalist. I mean, you know, it's not a very prestigious job. Like, you're a video game journalist, like, who cares? So the only kick they get out of their life, the only time their pee-pee grows is when they get to bully around some developers by leveraging the pressure from their publication. It's like, make the games as we want it, because we are from California, and we want imperialism around the cultural world. We want Japan to bend to us. We want America to bend to us. Everyone needs to bend to the foot of the Californian culture. Yeah, right, that's their mindset. And if you take that away from them, then what are they? There's just a woman with 10 cats. It's sad and depressing, so they don't want that to be taken away. And they're going to fight tooth and nail in order to prevent the culture from changing, in order to have developers that just say no to the video game journalists and just talk to their community instead. Completely bypassing people like Ethan Gach. So, the Microsoft CEO praised them, and all of a sudden they start crying about Hogwarts, right? And they're saying that, oh, well, we live in a time when the player base is doing conscientious purchasings. And then, you know, they will punish developers for ethical shortcomings. And, you know, even though, like, Hogwarts Legacy is not made by J.K. Rowling, oh, she's getting royalties. So like, fuck all the people that have families and work at Hogwarts Legacies. Like, who cares, right? Like, hurt them, Kotaku says. And, it's an interesting hill to die on. You know, I usually do not encourage people to do ideological boycotting for one particular reason. If it fails, the backfiring is spectacular because it means no one literally gives a shit about your problem. So, for example, when players boycotted Battlefield 5 for putting a woman with a baseball bat and a mechanical arm in a World War II game, that boycott worked, and it sent a powerful message to the company. But imagine if it didn't. Imagine if, like, people were complaining about this, and everyone was saying, yeah, we're going to boycott it, and then what ends up happening is people buy it and the game is a success. What it says is that your ideology is shit. You don't really have the numbers, and it encourages people to stop listening to you. And when I looked on Steam at Hogwarts Legacy, the game is already getting very positive reviews, like, despite the quote-unquote boycott. I'm willing to bet it's going to be a commercial success for two reasons. Number one, people absolutely despise moral busybodies now in any forms that they take. It's like, who the fuck are you to tell me not to buy a game? And number two is the fact that the game actually looks gorgeous and the gameplay looks interesting. Like, it's a little bit more innovative than what people initially expected. I think it will sell very well, and it will send the message that these people are just a insanely fringe vocal minority. And they're complete embarrassment to themselves. Like, they were adding tags to the game. I made a video about that, but like, they were saying this is a capitalist game. It's like, oh yeah, no fucking shit. Like, what do you think Kotaku is? They were adding it's a genocide simulator. I'm like, dude, it's a video game. Do you know how many video games have genocide simulator? Like Civ. Okay, the Civilization game. Stellaris. I can just go on and on. Like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a video game. It's fiction. Who cares? Right? So, you're also encouraging the type of people that do not like the Mortal Busybodies to buy the game just because they hate the Mortal Busybody. I have seen on Twitter, now I can't verify it or not, but I have seen people that claim to have purchased 3 or 4 copies of the game, which, by the way, may be true. I mean, I know this phenomenon happens in Japan all the time. It's usually with, like, fringe mangas. Like, if an independent author makes a manga and, you know, it caters to a very niche crowd, in order to show their support, they may buy, like, 3, 4, 5 copies. It's kind of like donating to someone's Patreon. You know, giving the thank you button on YouTube. It's kind of like that. But, I have seen this happen before in the West. Like, for example, in the UK, they had, like, the Trump blimp. And after a while, a lot of people were angry about it, so they made the Sadiq Khan blimp. Right? So they made, like, the Mayor of London blimp. And it was a open project on Patreon. You could have donated, and it got so much money, it was ridiculous. Why? Because people are fed up with the Moral Busybodies. But the problem is, like, a lot of people do not have the spine to stand up to them. Because if you stand up to them, you get cancelled. But, like, if you can manage to stand up to them and they can't cancel you over it, like, for example, you buy a video game that they don't like, a lot of people will do that. Like, a lot of people suddenly find the courage. And I think that it's a huge mistake for publications like Kotaku and other activists to try and boycott Hogwarts Legacy. Simply because it's not going to work. And I'm telling you, like, this is the same with any type of game. Like, if it's a woke game that's woke as fuck, but it's actually good because it has good gameplay and it's fun to play, you know, try and boycott the way. You're not going to make it. Because at the end of the day, most people who play video games genuinely care about the gameplay first and foremost. And of course, you know, they're talking about the game High on Life. And they're saying that one of the creators from Rick and Morty faced 2 felony domestic abuse charges. No one fucking cares, man. Literally, no one refunded the game because of that. Like, genuinely, no one fucking cares. Like, when I played the video game, I do not see the co-creator. I'm sorry, you know, like, I need a video game to play so that I can pass some time and find some enjoyment in my life. I don't care who made it. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.